How's it, guys? Yeah, I'm live. Going live. Sorry, I just had to re-educate myself how to get live on YouTube again. It takes a little while. So yeah, I see there's still no questions over there. If you want to leave questions on the side there in the chat, I have a look there. Maybe just start off with the team announced by the All Blacks today. Quite a good team. Uh, Sam Cane back, and he's going to be certainly be motivated after what happened at the World Cup, especially that red card. He's going to want to get himself some redemption. So quite a good loose trio there. Ethan Blackadder, Sam Cane, and Ardie Severe. And Ardie's, of course, the key man for them. One of two, him and Bowden Barrett. Scott Barrett's back as well. But pretty much the team that we expected the All Blacks to name. So wasn't too worried about that. Just looking at the box, of course, there's been some injuries in the Springbok camp this week. Yeah, the locks, they got 6 locks out or 5 locks out. Eben's now recovered, and he's been put on the bench. And I think part of that is because the Boks don't really want to break their own protocol too much. I know it's a bit of a grey area because he trained on Saturday and then couldn't train Sunday, and then was available on Monday, and they'd already named the team. So technically, he shouldn't have been able to play. But yeah, I suppose he's such an important player. I did say in our podcast, John, to the last drop. It's on the platform as well. If you haven't watched it, our interview with Johan Ackerman, I did say what does worry me a bit is just that whole thing about bending your own protocol. We've seen other teams where that starts to erode, as Liam said, tear at the seams of teams, and we hope that's not the case. Of course, we've got no reason to believe it is. Okay, so let's have a look. Listen, I mean, you're welcome to leave messages on the chat on the side there. I'll be picking up any questions from there. So if you do have any questions, please leave them there. We'll try and go through as many of them as possible. Thought there might be a bit more by now, but there's only one at the moment. Considering the backline Russie has chosen, can we expect a high-scoring game? Craig, well, thanks for the question. Yeah, first of all, I think it's always going to be a high-scoring game. Two factors, not just the team selections. The All Blacks score on average 30 points a game. So to beat them, you're going to have to score more than 30. And when you think when Argentina beat them the other day, they scored 35, I think it was. Yeah, 35 or 38. But you have to score more than 30 points to beat them. Second of all, Ellis Park is a fast pitch. The altitude, both teams are going to want to use the altitude to their advantage and try and tire out the other team. So yeah, I see a very open game plan. Plus, the Boks are also in this mode now where they've sort of accepted the way they want to play, and they're going to play a lot more expansive. So I reckon we're going to see a lot more of that as well. Two oceans, one breath. How important is our performance of our loose forwards going to be in this game? Well, the loose forwards are extremely important, but nowadays not so important in terms of jackling as such, because that just goes across the entire team. But yeah, our loose forwards are going to be huge. I mean, the main objective, obviously, of the loose forward is to slow down the opposition ball, to turn over ball, and to obviously get around the field as much as possible. We've got two loose forwards on the bench, Elrich and Kwacha. Both of them have got big engines. Both of them will slot in as well. I think the fact that Peter Steff is at lock gives you that extra option at the moment. He's got also a big engine, and Jason Dixon can empty his tank, so to speak. To quote a cliche nowadays, they always talk about emptying the tank. But yeah, I think Jasper Visser's performance is going to be the one that's going to be the most interesting to watch. He hasn't played for 3 months. He's been training for 3 months, but it's a different thing, training to playing. So it'd be interesting to see how he comes along there. Additionally, what I think of Sam Cane starting? Well, I think Sam Cane is one of those is a strange figure in New Zealand rugby because, yeah, obviously there's quite a bit of there was quite a bit of condemnation of both the red card and Sam Cane after the World Cup final in New Zealand. In New Zealand, anybody who's been there will know it's extremely isolated place. They tend to blow up things a bit out of proportion when it comes to rugby. It becomes a national crisis. And so Sam Cane, I think, has gone through a lot in his home country. I think, yeah, he's always been a great performer, probably not in the same mold as a Richie McCaw. And it's always been rather unfortunate that they've had to try and, compare him to the great Richie McCaw. I think that he suffered because of those comparisons. But look, he's definitely going to be motivated. He's definitely going to want to prove a point. And after the World Cup final, he's going to want some sort of redemption. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a big impact in the game. Of course, the Boks will be expecting that. They'll realize it's going to be a huge game for both packs. And they know Sam Cane pretty well, so they know what to expect from him. But when a player like that plays a good game, it comes across and it helps, it lifts your team. So, big one for Sam Cane. It's going to be interesting to watch what he does. Morning. Can we confirm is Eben Etzebeth playing? Yes, but he's on the bench. I did touch on it a bit earlier. They didn't put him back into the starting lineup. They put him onto the bench. It means he takes another step towards Victor Matfield's record. He'll be on the 125th test when he comes on. Victor's record's 127. So he'll get his chance in, probably, if I work it out right, if my maths is now right, to probably break Victor's record in Mbombela when they play Argentina. If that's the case, I think that's what he's obviously aiming for this season, and he wants to do it at home as well. So it's a big game for Eben. I think the fact that they haven't sort of put him straight back into the starting lineup is because of that protocol, because they named the side, and because they moved Peter Steff to 4 and Ron Nokia as his partner. It's a big game for all these guys. Eben certainly lifts the team when he's in the team, and I can see why they want him playing. But it's an interesting one. Oh, that's all the questions. I thought there would be a lot more this week. I suppose we all know the situation. Who's the referee? Are we going to? Well, actually, come to think of it, I haven't even looked who's the referee. I don't think it really matters in the Springbok All Black game. I must admit, it's actually bad of me not knowing. I should go have a look. Let me just Google it quickly, and I'll tell you now. I know you all could Google it as well. Let's see. Referee is Andrew Brace. We know him very well from the URC assistant referees Matt Carley, Jordan Way. Matt Carley is well known to the Boks as well. Television official Brian McNeese, I don't know him as all. And split screen, Christy Dupree. I think that's for the bunker, the split screen as such. But yeah, he's Andrew Brace. He's not a bad ref. I think he refs pretty pedantically at times, but all in all, not really a ref that you really worry about too much. I think the Boks have got to this point where they know they've got to be better than the refs. There's always going to be decisions that go against you, but you've got to be a lot better than that. Okay. Sandor, you say this is going to be a tough one. I'm worried for the Boks. I must be honest, there's never an easy game against the All Blacks. There are outliers. Normally on the side of the Boks being not right for it. But there are outliers like the 57-0 when the Boks get beaten like that a couple of years ago, before Russie's time, of course. And when the Boks beat the All Blacks at Twickenham 35-7. But these are traditionally games that are within one score, within 3-4 points of each other. So I don't expect anything different tomorrow, or Saturday, shall I say. Greg, thoughts on Lucanio getting a run again with Jesse being on fire? Am is a prodigy type talent, and I must say I crave the DDA combo, even though Jesse is such a warrior. I think, at the moment, Jesse is the guy in form, and he's playing exceptional rugby from last year's World Cup. So I think that's part of the reason why they probably kept him. Lucanio is an amazing player, and it could walk into probably most teams in the world, and we're very blessed to have guys like that in the team. I think partly it's just about rewarding Jesse for his play. And I don't think Lucanio is anywhere close to being out of the equation. I think it's just at the moment you've only got place for so many players, and he's got to wait his turn. He'll definitely be back and definitely be a big part as well of it. Okay, is there any more questions? Donnie, sorry, I missed that one. He said, I think after 30 minutes, Evan will move in at 4. and Peter Steph blindside. I don't think it'll be after 30 minutes. I think it'll probably be second half. I think Peter Steph normally goes 80, and it will depend on the Boks have a different way of looking at things. They sort of look at it. Just when they feel a player's emptied his engine, so to speak, when he's done everything he can, and then they replace him. So that could be 50, could be 60, could be 40. Not quite sure. Okay, Martin, love your content. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it. Not about sensation, posting stuff just for attention and traffic. Love the channel because. Oh, thanks, Martin. It's nice to hear that. Look, I mean, there's too many guys who would like sensation, so I'm not the one for that. I like normally, sort of just trying to give you the facts and try and be at least a bit level-headed. There's too many guys nowadays on social media that like to be clickbait. I'm not one of them, so thanks for that. T, why did the All Blacks announce their team later than the Boks? Isn't there a rule? No, there isn't a rule. Most teams announce theirs on the Thursday. The rule is it has to be 48 hours before the game. So the Boks just decide to do it on Tuesday. They feel once they've named their team internally, it gets out anyway. And anyway, they feel you've got to, what's coming. You've got to just match them. Sorry, guys, I got a bit of a cold at the moment. My thoughts on Fussy. Well, Jono, I think he's a much more rounded player this year. In past, there were some question marks about his defense, and that's why the Boks, I think they dropped him at one point. His defensive frailties were costing him, and he's gone back. He's worked on those a lot. He's done exceptionally well, and he's come back and he's on attack. He's a superb player, and he's a strike force. Plus, it gives the Boks a different edge going into this game. It's one of those where I think the Boks with Willie, they had two playmakers and they shifted it around, but with Fussy there, that gives him another strike run, and the way he's going to interact with Cheslin and Kurtley, I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be an interesting one. They're going to try and put him under pressure, especially under the high ball, especially Will Jordan, I reckon. But I think Fussy's good enough to counter that, and I really hope has a good game. He's really one thing you see with him and with Sasha is that Russie's sort of been building them up the whole time for this big test. So hopefully they come good there. Okay, let's see. Alfred, Russie's babies pull it off. I take it you mean the Springboks? Yes, I also hope. John, I also sorry, I forgot your second quote. Russie did say that Fussy must show us. I think everybody's waiting for Apalele to have that game that we all know he can have. And hopefully he has it on Saturday. I think there's, as they say on social media, the Church of Fussy. He's got a lot of support. He must now go show what he can do. Let's see. Sorry, guys, just give me a sec here. Try something. Sorry, I've just got a sound panel that was about to fall there. It's not put up properly yet. I'm still doing the studio here, so just obviously trying to before we had a huge crash here. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Jared, there's major concern about how DMAC will go 10 this series. Do you think Sash will go against him? Look, I don't think it's so much how Sash will go against him. They've each got their individual games. I think the bigger question is probably just how much pressure the Boks put on them. The loose forwards are going to put on both sides, are going to try and pressurize the two fly-halves. That's nothing new in rugby. That's quite normal. But I think the Boks sense a bit of a weakness there, maybe. Not that the All Blacks have already weaknesses. Damian McKenzie is the type of guy that can easily shift the ball and catch you out. So I'm not too worried about. I think what they're looking for is almost like a Peter Steph type performance in the World Cup final, where he just tackled Geordie Barrett into oblivion in that game. Love Reinach, probably the most underrated scrum half ever. Thoughts on the combo with Sasha? Well, Jono, I think the nice thing about Kobus Reinach is he's getting his shot. He's always been there and thereabout. He's always played understudy for everybody else. He's never had a bad game for the Springboks, and he's now fitting into Tony Brown's game plan exceptionally well. He is the right guy for that game plan, and I think we're going to see that more and more. He is, of course, 35, so he is just giving. I think one of the reasons why they're playing him is because he's gives Sasha a bit of experience around him, especially with Faf not there at the moment. So I think that combination is great. I think for the future, though, Grant Williams is the guy who's going to come in and partner Sasha long term. So I think we're going to see that more. Erhard, do you think we're going to move back to a more traditional Bok brand of rugby? I've asked myself the same thing this week because I'm not sure. I think they've sort of committed to this now of playing the Tony Brown game plan, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that. There's certainly the set piece is still going to be important, the physicality is still going to be important, but the Boks are looking to play a lot more wider. I don't think they're going to step back from this one. I don't think we're going to play 10-man rugby for this, especially not at Ellis Park. Maybe in Cape Town, depending on the weather conditions, but not at Ellis Park. Contender, I hope we can break the Highveld hoodoo. Well, it's only a Highveld hoodoo against the All Blacks. I sort of tend to look at it. You can't really look at history that much. Teams are now a lot more professional. They know how to get around these things and handle the altitude. New Zealand have been here for more than a week. I think they arrived on Saturday. So, yeah, they'll be more than a week by the time they start playing. So I'm not sure that makes too much of a difference. And they're a team that are extremely fit and they like to move around the park. I think what we have to do is it's more a case of when the Boks do have that sort of advantage and that they put the hammer down and they press home that advantage. We saw that at Twickenham last year. We haven't seen it in Springbok teams other than that. We've allowed the All Blacks to come back when we are up and dominating during the game. But I think that's the big thing for the Boks is that when you get those opportunities, put them away. Make sure your dominance counts. William, a similar question. Thoughts on the Boks playing an expensive game? AB's dangerous if you make a mistake. William, I think it comes back to well everything I've said already, but it also comes back to the point of All Blacks score 30 points a game. If you're going to beat them, you need to score more than 30. So you have to give yourself that. You've got to go toe-to-toe with them. That's the only way you beat them is you go toe-to-toe with them. Yes, they're very good on broken play and turnover ball. So you've got to make sure your mistakes are a minimum. But that's almost what every coach says, I suppose. Really thought Canan Moodie was going to be the next big thing after his performance last year. Ross, he's still around, but I think there's a lot of depth at the moment. The way Rossi and them plan is they have 3 players in every position. So they've got the seasoned pro, the first choice. They've got the guy who's pushing him. And then they've got a youngster coming through that obviously they see in the next 3-4 years as the guy who's going to take over. So Kanan's very much still there. He's had an injury, so he hasn't had a chance. And then again, who do you drop, Kurt Lee or Cheslin? That's very difficult. And do you drop Jesse? If you drop Jesse, then there's more of an argument for the Lucanio at 13. So, yeah, it's one of those things. His time will come, definitely. Those other guys probably might not make it. Some of them might not make it to the World Cup in the next one. So I think he's still got 3 years. I think we must give him time. He needs to play, and that's the main. That's the main thing. Alfred, sorry, I'm trying to read these as we talk. The inclusion, exclusion of Eben, was that gameplay? No, I accept Rossi's word for this one. What happened was, as Rossi explained, if you saw the press conference video, the way he explained it was that Eben twisted his knee. So Rossi had a very animated way of explaining it. Maybe go watch the video of the team announcement. He said Eben was in the scrum and he moved his knee as the pack was coming through, so he twisted his knee. It's one of those things where they thought it was a lot worse, so he said he couldn't train, and then he woke up the next day and his knee felt fine. So that's the explanation they've given. I've got no reason to believe it's not the truth. So, yeah, sometimes these happen. What do we need to do in order to win is to stifle the All Blacks from the beginning. I agree. We have to shut them down very quickly. If we get the All Blacks gasping for air, I'm not sure they're going to gasp for air, but you get to that point where as a team, everything you're trying is not working, and you start getting desperate. And especially if you build a scoreboard pressure along with that, then yeah, it becomes a bigger and bigger factor as the game goes on. If we get we can bring on Pollard at 12. I'm not sure we're going to bring on Pollard at 12. I think he'll come on at 10. It depends all the way the game is going and how they see it. Damien and Jesse are rocks at defense. They rock solid there. I'm not sure you really want to change it around too much. But yeah, look, there is a possibility, I suppose. I'm not sure we're going to see Pollard at 12. I think he'll come on at 10. But it all, as I say again, it depends what happens in the game. Is Fussy ready to go against the ABs? He's elusively fast, and Rusty is wanting to perform. So no pressure. Well, there's always pressure when you got a Springbok jersey on. To give you the cliche answer there. Yeah, look, he's definitely ready to play against Australia, and he's ready to play against Ireland, Wales. So why not the All Blacks? So at some point, same with Sasha, you've got to give these guys that opportunity, allow them to make the mistakes they make, and let them learn from it. So yeah, I think he's definitely ready, and I'm obviously hoping for a big game for him. Grant, want to see how DMAC performs when he's put under Peter Stoff pressure. You're right, he hasn't faced that before, but Peter Steff's at 4 lock at the moment. So that might affect how he gets across the field. I think at some point we will see him go back to 7, and then I think you'll see him. But it is a bit of a different role he's playing this week. But Ben Jason Dixon has that role. He knows he's going to put the guys under pressure. And he was asked, yesterday when we were with them, if he was going to do a Peter Steph du Toit role, and obviously gave the standard answer that he's not Peter Steph du Toit, and he'd hope to obviously do as much as he can. But I think that's the thing. Between him, Kwagga, Peter Steph, they're really looking to put the All Black halfbacks under pressure. That's the key to success for them. Disrupt that All Black backline before they get the ball, and use your opportunities. As I say, scoreboard pressure is going to be a huge thing. Let's see, Zahid. With Damon Willems is set to return soon and Fussy coming to take over from Willie, is there any other fullbacks putting their hand up? Well, yeah, there's lots. Rusty's got lots of options. It depends whether you want to move players out of their situation. Kurtie can play fullback. Kanan can play wing, probably could play fullback at a push as well. And I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Kieran Horn was there as well from the Lions. He's around. Willie's still not gone. I'm trying to think who else. But I think Kieran Horn's the next guy coming through. There's Tyrone Green in England, although he hasn't been to any Bok alignment camps, but the Boks can always call him up. He hasn't been called up by England. He's another guy I'd look at as well, but there's just so many, so many players. Yeah, Sasha can play fullback as well. Cheslin can play fullback. There's a lot of fullbacks that they can play. So I'm not too worried about that. I think there's, in most of these positions, the players who are playing are versatile and they can play a lot better. A lot of positions, so they can go into anything that they need to. And the way the team works is, they all want to play. It doesn't matter where. They'll all tell you the same thing. It's a bit of a cliche as well to say, but they all say, "I'll play wherever the coach needs me." Okay, let's see. Greg, if Fussy does good, Damien going to have a fight for his position, healthy. Well, I think that's what you want. You want to have enough players pushing for positions that it becomes that sort of healthy competition. And yes, Damien is still the guy who's going to come back and probably will walk in. Well, I won't say walk into it, but Fussy can make it very difficult for him. Big boy games, Sam Kane. I did answer that earlier. I thought he's going to look for a bit of redemption. And Tensma, if you also joined later, see, because I did answer, Eben is also playing. Guys, I'm probably going to, if there's no more questions, I'm probably going to end it here. We'll do another one after the All Black one from Cape Town when we get down there. So to see if there are any last questions, let's have a look. Nothing I can see at the moment. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope these work for you guys. If you do enjoy them, let me know in the comments, and we'll do more of them. I like, it's a nice interactive forum. Hopefully I have a bit less of a cold and a bit less of flu next time I chat to you guys. But it's one of those things where you try and do your best with these things, but you don't have all the answers. We try and give them the answers that we can. I see there's a couple of late questions coming. Let me have a look. Thoughts on us not really starting with any specialist fetches? I don't worry too much about that. There's enough fetches at the moment. I had a long chat last night at the Bulls Awards with Nama Kaba about the role of a fetcher and how it's changed for them as players. And like he says, if you've got a good specialist fetcher, he's always a threat. But if nowadays everybody has to be a fetcher. That's why you'd see a Stephen Kitzel from Malcolm Marks, those type of guys going in, a Johan Grobler. Lots of those guys become fetchers and jacklers at the moment. So I think if you play the right way, and that's obviously you play the right way to slow the opposition ball down and force those turnovers, you don't need a specialist fetcher as such. But if you've got a good one, it's always good. And I think the fact of bringing on Kwach in the second half, I would have liked to have seen Marco also in that, but I understand they want probably the physicality of Ulrich there. Could we have a very bulky in the Brazer second half, 6 Visa? I'm not sure Visa would go to 6. Smith at 7 and Low at 8. I think Low would come at 8. I think probably Kwacha will replace Sia at 6. And Peter Steff will move back and Eben will come on to at lock. So we'll probably have a Kwacha, Peter Steff, the Toy, and Elrich sort of back row late in the second half. We could shift Fassi to wing and Sasha at 15 and Polo to 10. We could, but I don't think they'll do it unless there's injuries. You don't want to move too many guys around during a game anyway. How good is the All Blacks bomb squad front row compared to us? Well, that's the question. Look, their front row's done pretty well in the last while, but they haven't faced the box. This Tamaiti Williams is an exceptional prop. He's a big bulk of human being. He's 140 odd kg, so he's hard to move. But it comes down to technique, and I'm very keen to see how Gerrit Steenekamp goes up against what's it the other. I can't remember his name now. The All Black tight head. I'm looking forward to that. Gerrit is somebody I rate very highly, and I had a long chat to Don him on the other day about him, and he's extremely excited at watching him play. So hopefully that. Guys, yeah, thanks. I think I've hopefully answered everybody. If there's more, leave them in the comments. I'll try and answer them in the comments as well. But thanks for watching. And yeah, let me know what you think of these live streams. If they work, we'll do a lot more of them. But thanks for watching. And yeah, go subscribe to the channel. There's lots of videos coming up there over the weekend. Cheers.